Renting is throwing money away. The most repeated financial advice in America was written by marketing, not discovered by economists, not proved by research, not arrived at through independent analysis, but funded, written, and distributed by people who earn a commission when you agree with it. So this is 1908. You have 80 million plus annual lobbying spent today and 100 years of a funded messaging. Now, it makes you wonder, like, who actually wrote this and why? So the cultural consensus is renting is throwing money away. You've heard this your entire life. I've heard this in my entire life. My mom, my dad, like, oh, renting, you're throwing money away. Why are you going and do this? Your parents said it. Your uncle said it. Thanksgiving was total confidence. Your coworker said it. When you mentioned your apartment, it carries a weight of obvious truth. And that weight was carefully constructed, okay? So the cultural install was 80% of Americans plan to own someday. Home ownership aspiration crosses income, age, and political lines. You have the shadow. Renting carries shame. Renters explain themselves at family dinners. Oh, we're just saving up, as if renting requires a defense. And then never question. Almost no one ever asked where it came from. Okay? The shame attached to renting was not organic. It was installed. Now, the National Association of Realtors, the NAR, founded in 1908, not a government body, not an academic institution, a trade lobby, one of the 5 largest congressional lobbying spenders in America for most of the last 50 years. Their financial interest, every home sale generates commission. Their message, buying is always better. Before the NAR campaigns, renting was normal across all income levels. The association between renting and failure was manufactured, not discovered. And you literally have the NAR, all of the things that they're essentially lobbying towards, the government policy, and then now you have media and culture, and then you believing it's your idea, created by the social pressure. Now, Herbert Hoover, the NAR, a government industry propaganda campaign, when the Secretary of Commerce, Hoover, explicitly partnered with the real estate industry to promote home ownership as a patriotic duty. Renters were called rootless. Owning was called American. This is a campaign material. It is documented. It is not subtle. Own a home and take your place in the community. The renter is a transient. The homeowner is a citizen, right? Own your home. The foundation of good citizenship and American character. So they created an identity around this. And if you want to influence someone, you need to change their identity. Now, who earns when you buy? Everyone at the table gets paid when you sign. Nobody gets paid if you keep renting. So your buyer's agent, mortgage broker, title company, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, bank interest, seller agent, all of them get paid when you become a buyer of a home, right? So the math the mortgage broker never showed you. So the down payment deployed, $80,000 to the buyer, but invested in the renter, $610,000, right? A mortgage interest for 30 years at 7%. Buyer, $432,000. Property taxes, $144,000. Maintenance, you have $180,000. Insurance, you have $60,000. Transaction costs, you literally have $40,000. Monthly cost differentiated saved. And then home appreciation. So in total, you're looking at your net approximate after 30 years, right? Estimated net position is $636,000 in expenses. Right? But then if you literally just did this, right, in terms of investing, it would have turned into $910,000. So think about this. Assumes a 3% appreciation, 7% investment return, $300 a month rent mortgage, cost differential invested, variable shift outcome, and then obviously like run your own numbers. But the real home price return in 1890 to 2010, 0% above inflation. So historically, housing is not a good investment. It barely keeps up with inflation. This is Robert Shiller. So the first 10 years, you're mostly paying back just the bank. You're not building equity. Like, for example, my parents, when they were sold the American dream, they moved there from the Philippines and they're like, oh yeah, we need to go out and buy a home. So they literally bought a home they couldn't afford. And then they foreclosed on one. And then still to this day, they're still like paying for fees on the other one, right? And it's because of this entire thing that they were essentially kind of like sold on. And they would always push me, oh, buy a house, mom. I'm just going to go ahead and move to Thailand. I'm going to move to Bali. I'm going to go ahead and do that more irresponsibly than like buying a home, right? But if you really think about it, throwing money away applies to rent. It never applies to mortgage interest. And you want to ask, why? Why? Rent is not a payment for nothing. Rent buys you housing, flexibility, zero maintenance liability, geographic optionality, and the ability to deploy capital elsewhere. None of those appear in the throwing away money calculation. All of them have dollar values. So housing, shelter, what everyone correctly accounts for. Flexibility, move in 60 days, not in 6 to 12 months. When I wanted to leave Thailand, I just got up and left. When I wanted to leave Bali, I just got up and left. Zero maintenance liability. You know how many times I was like in a home and then something crappy would happen, or there'd be like a big rat like in the just ceiling? Like now I don't have to worry about that. Liquidity, down payment stays investable. 80K in an index fund compounds continuously. 80K as a down payment is illiquid until you sell at a 5 to 6% transaction cost. So homeowners are statistically less likely to move for opportunity. I had so many friends that had so much opportunities. They didn't move because they had a mortgage. So the NAR lobbying spend consistently top 5 in America, some years number 1, okay? So they could control exactly the belief of everyone. And this is not anti-home ownership. This is not anti-slogan. It's literally just when buying wins and when renting wins. If you're gonna be in the same location for under 7 years, renting wins. If you're gonna look at your annual rate divided by your home price ratio, then you could see above 5%, then renting doesn't win, right? All of these things, if you go ahead and screenshot it, you could see if career mobility requirements, stable career, okay, go ahead and get a house. If you're in a growing field, multiple cities, don't get a house. If your local market rent to price ratio, below market average, get a house. If in NYC, SF, Seattle, Boston, rent, right? So replace the slogan with these 5 questions. Number 1, what is your time horizon? Under 7 years, right? Transaction costs alone make buying a net loss. 2, what is the rent to price ratio in your city? Annual rent divided by purchase price. Above 5%, likely rent. Below 4%, buying may like literally be good. 3, what would you do with the down payment? Invest it, real opportunity cost, spend it. Buying provides forced savings. 4, how stable is your income and career? Viable income, home ownership equals amplified risk. What do you actually want? Do you want permanence, community, the right to paint the walls? These have legitimate dollar values as well. You want to quantify them and include them. For me, I wanted more like freedom.